Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you, I guess it would be called the quarterfinal. Yeah, this will be the set 2 of the quarterfinal series between SKT1 and Hite Entus of the Shinhan Bank Winners League. So after 2 rounds of Winners League, here we are. These are the 3rd and 4th place teams. 3rd place going to SKT, 4th to Hite Entus. In the first game, we saw Ssak take down Lita in the TVT on Fortress. And now on set 2, we're going to be seeing Ssak play your current MSL champion, Hydra. So that's right, Hydra is coming out already for Hite Entus. So the big guns coming out first, Lita and Hydra for Hite Entus. They're not saving anything for the end and bringing their big guns out first to try and win as many games as they can. This is going to be on Icarus. So this is going to be a ZVT on Icarus, and it's actually, wow, and just looking at the map stats really quick, it is a almost 60% win rate for Zerg. It's currently at 58.3 or so, something like that. So pretty good favoritism towards Zergs on this map, so maybe that's why they decided to play him already, bring him out so quickly. And we'll see what he has in store. And I think big news for Hite here before the game really gets too far into it. Big news for Hite. They announced just a week or two ago, well, maybe it was a little bit longer than that, but a few weeks ago, recently, Hite Entus announced that Effort will be returning to pro gaming. So technically, because of his retirement, however the rules work, technically Effort cannot return until August of this year. So he's going to spend the next 5 months or so, just doing intense training in the practice house and things like that, and then he'll come back. So if Effort can return to his form that he had before, you can see just how strong a Hite Entus could be in next year's Pro League with Effort. If Hydra can maintain and not fall off like some MSL winners and MSL runner-ups, and just a problem with MSL players who do well in the MSL for some reason, outside of Bisu, they haven't had the most success following. But if Hydra can escape that curse and play well in the future, you could have a big 3-headed monster in Hydra, Effort, and Lita. Perhaps a 3-headed monster that could compete with even SKT's 3-headed monster of Fantasy Best and Bisu. Who knows? Who knows? If they all are playing well, who knows who would come out in that kind of matchup. So that's big news for Hite Entus if you were a fan of CJ Entus or Hite Sparkies and maintained your fandom when they combined, you are definitely very much excited that Effort is coming back. But this is not going to be Effort. This is going to be the other Zerg. This is going to be Hydra, and it looks like he's getting ready to throw down a hatchery. There he is. There he's already got the hatchery down. Looks like that was an overpull right into hatchery there. And Ssak is going to do a fake Rax Expo. It looks like he's going to wall off his natural command center, going to make it look, or his natural choke, make it look like he's going 1 Rax Expo, but he's already got a gas up, so this is actually going to be either a mech or a wraith build. We'll see which it is. And unfortunately for him, I think because of the Overlord, Hydra's actually going to scout this out with an Overlord, not with a drone. So for example, let's say if a drone went and scouted out where Ssak was, he would go to that front, think that there's a command center there, and not really worry about anything from then on out. But because it's going to be an Overlord that ends up scouting that position out, he's going to be able to get into the main, going to see the gas, going to see whatever, see the factory and whatever else goes up if there is a starport. So this could actually end up working against Ssak here. Unfortunately for him, just the way the positions worked out and the Overlord scouting pattern, it could end up backfiring against him. If his build is scouted out too perfectly. And it is going to be 2 factories here, so 2 factories coming out for Ssak. So he's going to try and end this game very, very quickly, very, very early, and we'll see if he's able how successful he is. Looks like the Overlord has scouted out the base and then retreated, and I don't know how far he got in, if he saw the gas or not. I would love to see the first-person view right now of Hydra and just be able to see how much of the base of Ssak that he really got to scout out. He's going down his spire as well as his lair has completed. But this is going to be a lot of mech troops very, very quickly for Ssak, and he may catch Hydra by surprise if Hydra did not get the proper scout out. We'll see how this goes. SCV for Ssak getting into the base of Hydra and getting a nice big old scout in here, seeing everything that's going down. I gotta say, in this game, you have to be favoring Hydra, your MSL winner, to come away with it. In addition, I don't think Ssak has the best TVZ. I think of his matchups, TVZ is probably his worst. I know it is technically by the numbers it's his worst, but I think after seeing him play a few different TVZs, I haven't been impressed. So I don't know what he's got in store for us, but I don't really favor him very much in this game. Looks like Hydra's right on top of things. That Sunken Colony should be morphed in time to get that before that Vulture is able to try and get any sort of a run by. And with that Spiral, should be pretty near completed. So he'll be able to get his Air Forces out pretty soon. He's got some Zerglings on that ramp to just make sure that that Vulture doesn't go anywhere. And that should be enough to hold off for now. And Ssak still hasn't thrown down that second command center in his natural expansion, so he's sticking to it. Looks like this is going to be a Goliath build. He's got these Vultures out early, but I gotta think that he's got an armory already, so I gotta think that that's just for the Goliaths to counter the Mutalisks that will be coming pretty shortly. If we see a Starport go down as well, I'm just going to be shocked. Looks like speed on these Vultures has completed, and he is going to get the run by, is going to get into the base here, is going to get into the natural expansion. How far away are Mutalisks? Mutalisks are out already, at least one. Will this be enough? How much damage will these Vultures end up doing? These drones could actually take a huge beating here. Looks like 2, maybe 3 drones have gone down, 4 drones, 5 drones maybe gone down. So Ssak doing a good amount of damage with these Vultures. I want to say it's about 5 drones have gone down, and another Vulture sneaking into the natural expansion. Looks like it's going to catch a couple more drones. So Ssak playing very, very well here with this little ploy, hiding these 2 factories and getting a whole lot of drone kills. I mean, he's still getting more. I want to say maybe now he's up to 7 or 8 drone kills. This is going very, very well right now for Hydra. Now, as long as he can get these turrets up in time, as long as he can get some Goliaths, turrets aren't quite enough on their own. He wants to get some Goliaths out as well in order to defend against this. Looks like he's throwing up turrets left and right. He's got 3 up in his main already, throwing down another one. And actually, he doesn't have a natural expansion to defend, does he? So it doesn't matter whether there's any big turrets there at the moment. Instead, he's just going to, I think he's going to use these Vultures almost like sometimes you see Zerglings in ZVZ. And that's that the Vultures just keep putting the pressure on your opponent, forcing those Mutalisks to keep coming home, just like Zerglings do in ZVZ. Just keep those Mutalisks coming home, and that gives you time to get up your own Mutalisks, or in this case, what will probably be Goliaths and turrets. And that's definitely one way you can play your defense when you don't have the proper the army composition to necessarily deal with your opponent at the moment. You can do with this kind of a style and force your opponent to stay at home until you are prepared for that. And there are more Vultures out in the middle of the map, so if Hydra doesn't catch them, and Hydra maybe even having some map hacks here, heading right towards them, and no, Hydra's map hacks are not quite good enough. Just a little bit more to the right, he would have seen those Vultures out in the open, been able to chase them down, pick off a couple of them probably, and really secure himself on the attack. And now Hydra going in and seeing that there is no natural expansion, realizing just how much of an advantage he is in if he can just play defensively and keep up his economy. And a nice little wall going in here for Hydra with that Hydra's Den and the hatchery going in there. So he loses another drone or so in there, but he's going to be able to stop Vultures from really doing any more run-bys. And Ssak now has to be careful because now he's in kind of a tough position of being very, very much cornered in here, and Hydra taking a very odd route out of the base of Ssak, going right past all of the Goliaths and all of the turrets, even the units that he knew were there, instead of kind of going up and around. It looks like he was really worried about this Vulture, actually, that somehow snuck in. I thought that wall that he had was pretty good, even with only 1 Sunken Colony behind. I thought that would be enough. Apparently it was not, and 1 Vulture just managed to sneak in and pick up another drone. So where does Ssak go from here? Looks like he's sneaking some more Vultures out. Looks like, I mean, this is basically what he's doing. He's just going to keep sneaking Vultures out, see if he can keep the pressure on. And that's really all he's got going for him right now, because he just can't afford to let Hydra play his game. He can't just let Hydra sit there and keep building up, because he's only on 1 base. Ssak is getting his second command center in base, but really not quite enough at the moment. And Hydra throwing up an evolution chamber. Actually looks like he canceled it and then put it up again. Didn't like the spot it was at. But he'll be able to start getting his Hydra forces going now, or Lurkers even, if he wants. Lurkers could be effective here because there's only 1 scanning station for Comsat for Ssak at the moment. And doesn't look like there's a starport, much less any hint of vessels coming his way. Hydra taking the bottom left expansion as well. I think he realizes that he's basically killed all of the vultures that have been roaming around, and he's still moving his Mutalisk around, trying to catch them, looking for them. Looks like he's about to run into a couple more, and doesn't turn around to keep on them, or maybe he's chasing one, but, you know, I'm just trying to watch the minimap and tell you what I think is going on, but I couldn't really tell, because I think a vulture is about to go to the bottom left, and that I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate, but not a huge deal there. The Goliath force for Ssak has grown in numbers, so this is actually a pretty big force. It could be enough to actually allow him to take his natural expansion. Now, are there enough turrets left in his main to keep off these, or to at least punish the Mutalisk? That's really the question right now, because Hydra could swoop right back into the main and do some damage, which is definitely something to worry about. And the flight distance from his main back to defend his natural against his Goliath force is not that far. It's really not that long. So he'd be able to do it. It looks like the Goliaths are +1 armor, so this is definitely going to be very, very effective in terms of being an assault force. Oh, a bunch of Hydras go down to a mine. Hydra had produced a ton of Hydras to help counter exactly this kind of a push. And unfortunately for him, a squad of them just eats a mine and goes down, and probably a bunch of those Hydras that you see are probably damaged as well. So that is unfortunate. And Ssak sending his Goliaths to the bottom left to take down the space. Now he's got to be careful because he could end up trapped here. It looks like that's exactly what Hydra's going to do. This is definitely a strategically dominant position right now for Hydra. If he can get up this ramp, this is a strategically dominant position for him because he's got Ssak's units trapped, and that's exactly what he's going to do. The Mutalisk are eating so much damage and able to take a lot of damage, able to soak it all up, and now it looks like the Hydras have gotten up the ramp and doing a ton of damage, picking off a ton of these Goliaths. Looks like there's 4 left, still a bunch of Hydras and a couple Mutalisk left. So Ssak is going to lose this force, and that is definitely going to put him in a really, really bad spot right now. Ssak is in trouble for sure. Just now got his natural expansion up, but he does not have much of an army right now. Does not have much of an army at all. He does have the 4 factories going, just finally have a siege tank as well. But losing that force so decisively is definitely going to hurt him right now. And he's going to have to be very, very careful with these tanks, particularly if lurkers end up coming into the picture. Probably won't see too many lurkers just because they're not that effective against mech as they are against infantry. But still, their presence can still be very annoying for one. And dropships can also come into play as well. Drop some lurkers into the main and go for it that way. Looks like another little pressure coming on here from Hydralisk with his Hydralisk, because he's got a lot of them and just barely picks off that mine. Wow, that was very, very close. That mine almost went off. That would have been awful for him. And Hydra going for it right now. Looks like he's going to go for it. Looks like Siege has not finished on these tanks, so those tanks are not quite as effective as you'd want them to be, and that's why he's not really too worried about it, and why he's charging in here with these Hydras. SCVs coming off the line to block for the tanks and the Goliaths, doing a very, very good job of that. So Ssak playing very, very well defensively here. Does he have enough to hold off? It looks like he might just barely have enough with those +1 armor, with the SCVs coming off the line to play defensively. It looks like he does have enough. About 6 Hydralisks left, but there's another squad of about 6 or 7 Hydralisks coming in as well. Looks like another 6 coming in for Hydra, and as soon as they join the forces, it looks like he's probably going to try and keep the pressure on. Now he's got a dozen. Will he keep on the pressure, or is he going to just maintain this contain and not seeing any more attacks? So it looks like he's going to maintain this contain and just get his third base running, maybe drone up a little bit harder. He doesn't have as many drones as maybe you'd want to see, particularly at at his natural expansion. Looked kind of, well, maybe it was his third, but one of them definitely looked kind of low on drone count. And now with these tank numbers having finally finished siege weapons, they're actually doing quite well here, picking off a couple more Hydras as they were in retreat. So 1-1 for Ssak right now. It looks like he's game planned this very, very well. There were some points in this game where both players were very much in trouble. It was very, very risky and very, very tense for both of them. And we've kind of evolved out of that. And Ssak showing some really high quality play here. I've got to say, able to keep Hydra back just enough in order to get that Goliath force, using that Goliath force effectively to get his natural expansion up. Some very, very good play here from Ssak, and now sneaking in with a couple more vultures, doing more economic damage for Ssak. And this is just more little wins for Ssak that's going to help him win in the long run, picking off that many more drones. Looks like another four drones maybe going down at that bottom left hand expansion. And all of these little wins, they just pile up. Every single economic win piles up, particularly against a Zerg player. It's a little win, and you start to really start to take command of a game. I don't think that Ssak is in command of this game for sure. I don't think either player is in command of this game, but those are the little types of things that can get you that kind of a position here. Ssak has managed to push across the map a little bit, and is going to try and put a pressure on that spot where the third base and the natural expansion, where the rally points would meet. That's a spot where Ssak can get to, but moving from that position, going farther in either way is going to be very, very difficult for him because of the reinforcement routes. Looks like Hydra has actually prepared a drop for us, and this could be absolutely devastating. There's no units at home. There are 0 military units in the base at home for Ssak right now. 0. When I say, I mean literally 0 military units. These Hydras are going to tear through Ssak right now. He's using his rally forces right now. Looks like a group of units was just completed, and they're trying to do everything they can, but he is going to lose a ton of buildings, lost a bunch of SCVs, lost the comset station. He's losing supply depots left and right, losing a ton of supply depots. I don't even know if he'll be able to produce another unit for a while right now. He's in huge trouble right now in that sense, so he's going to have to, he looks like he's going on the attack, going for the natural expansion. This is going to have to be a very, very well executed attack. Needs to take down the natural expansion, needs to do a ton of damage, not a little bit of damage. He needs to do a ton of damage to counter this, because he's just lost his main command center. He has just lost his main command center. Ssak is losing his main completely entirely, and we're having a little bit of a base trade here, and usually Terrans come away with base trades, but and Ssak has a chance here to really win the game with this proper base trade going on here. If he can get up this ramp, get into Sack's main, he's already destroyed the Hydra's dead. No more Hydras coming out for Hydra. If he can get through the natural, if he can get up the ramp, that's going to be the tough part. That's going to be like the last stand of Hydras. If he can defend that ramp effectively and at least hold out for a while, he could manage to take this game out. But otherwise, it's going to be a really, really tough position for him. And where is Ssak going? Ssak actually turning around. Looks like he's going to go for the third here instead. Looks like he's turning around, going to go for a third. Not even going to fight that ramp. I guess his theory here is that he knows that the ramp is going to be a difficult spot for him. So instead of going for that ramp and trying to end it, he's just going to go to the bottom left, take out this base, narrow Hydra down to one mining base. Hydra has taken the bottom right as well, and we'll see if that's good enough. And the mutilas have been produced en masse. Looks like a half dozen mutilas have been produced, and that will definitely do a number on what reinforcements are left for Ssak. So Ssak running out here of options, needs to continuously do damage, has taken down the bottom left, sent a bunch of vultures to the bottom right, so it's nullified mining at that base. Hydra's going to the bottom right, so right now the main of Hydra is very much at risk as well. Both players are basically at risk of being completely destroyed right now. It's a matter of who will actually manage to defend and stop the army of the other. Hydra having some problems because of the mutilas being brought in as well. Needs to try and pick off some mutilas here with the Goliaths he has, and doing a great job of that, getting a lot of hits on those mutilas, but there are still a bunch left. There are not enough Goliaths in that group. There's only 4. I don't think that'll be enough for him to eliminate all of these mutilas, I don't think. And bringing the tanks back now, what an odd time to bring back the tanks. And oh man, Spider-Man's going off all over those Hydras. So a bunch of Hydras goes down. He needs some more turrets, but he's lost his engineering bay. Needs more turrets, needs more Goliaths, and he's out. He's out of anti-air. I think Ssak just ran out of anti-air and was forced to GG because he had more than enough tanks there to deal with the Hydralists. And he, with that still one base mounting, it was still relatively close economically, but he ran out of anti-air. So Hydra wins that game. What an exciting match. What an exciting TVZ on Icarus, but Hydra gets the win against Ssak. Definitely one of the better games I've seen in a while. That was highly entertaining. But this series is tied 1-1, Hydra and Ssak. We're going to go on to Game 3. It's going to be Hydra, of course, after winning that game, and it's going to be on Empire of the Sun, and probably we'll see one of the big 3, whether it will be Fantasy Beasts or Best. We will find out. I would assume that it will be one of those 3 coming out next. And, yeah, I will see you guys all in the 3rd set. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Deja Vu here, and I'm going to be bringing you the Winners League playoff.